Welcome to The Leaders Who Care, a podcast powered by Dynamis Group. We are here to give the stage and support to those committed to create a positive and lasting impact, way beyond the profits and margins, the leaders of the world who care for others and serve a bigger purpose. Join us on the journey of creating a better, more caring world. And now to your host, Marian Tamalkov.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon to who is joining us from Asia. Good morning to Europe and some from US, hopefully a bit early. But today we have a great really opportunity to welcome amazing guest, Jure Knehtl. Jure, thank you so much for joining us today. We've been having a lot of interest and requests for entrepreneurs, but also business leaders of how to scale fast. And you are talking about WeScale, and you've been part of some amazing growth journeys, and would love to talk about some of this topic today. But first of all, thank you for making the time, and where are you joining us from today?
Oh, thank you, Marian. So I'm joining from Slovenia. So I'm really looking forward for this conversation today. So yeah, I'm in Slovenia, my home country. Almost in my hometown, so I'm near the city center where we have also the headquarters of WeScale. So yeah, that's what I'm joining, and thank you again for having me.
You've been helping entrepreneurs to scale companies from zero to tens of millions. You mentioned some of them over 60 million in 2 years or just over 2 years. How does that work? Tell us a little bit about, first of all, how WeScale was born, and I would love to hear what is this journey of rapid scale, and of course we'll talk about how do we do that with care.
Mm-hmm. Awesome, cool. Thanks for the question. So basically, where it started was that I started my entrepreneurial journey at the age of 21. So right after the finishing the Faculty of Economics. I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, but I found some interest in digital marketing. So I actually went to work in one marketing agency here in Slovenia. And at that stage, it was just the digital marketing was basically in our country just getting started. There weren't many successful projects or something like that here. So worked there for 9 months. It was basically learning the basics about like how the environment is working. And then I had this want to try myself as an entrepreneur. Because I said, okay, I'm young, I have nothing to lose. This is one of my passion that I'm curious about to see if I can do something. So I said, okay, I'll try to actually start my own marketing firm. So it was a performance agency that helped Slovenian businesses to sell in other markets. Because with the Slovenia being like a relevant, relatively small market here, if you want to really grow, you need to go abroad. So that was the first company that I had for 3 years. We actually grew to 15 team members. We were helping around 50 to 60 businesses to scale from one market to the other. And then basically my passion was to learn also stuff outside of marketing. So to understand like the whole business structure of how the e-commerce and the business is formed. So I actually went to work in-house in one e-commerce company where we had like this successful growth where we actually grew to mid 8 figures yearly revenue. So then the idea, I was the CMO, I was building like the marketing team there from scratch. We had 32 people at the point where I actually then left the company. And where WeScale was coming from was that I wanted to combine like those two experiences together. Because on one end, I knew that I know how to help businesses to sell in other markets. And then on the other hand, we also, with that company, we grew that we were one of the biggest regional players in the e-commerce space. So I knew how it looks from the working internally and also how to actually help them externally. So the idea of the boutique performance agency was born. And with them, the idea was to partner up with the selected clients and to help them grow from basically zero, really small numbers, couple of 10K per month, into becoming like a 7-figure monthly players on the market. So that was like the journey, how it got started. And within like this first 2 years and something, almost 2.5 years now, a month or two away, we actually grew to 30 team members, and we got also some exciting projects right now, and we also did them in the past.
Wow, Jure, what an exciting journey that you had. And I can imagine that's a lot of learning fast. Scaling a business is not the easiest thing to do. People are key and really essential, the most critical part. What did you learn? I'm wondering about your really transformation as a leader. How did you grow and evolve through those experiences?
Yeah, it was a pretty exciting journey, and also a lot of changes down the road, but I think it's just part of the business. So when I started, I didn't have anyone in my network or in my family that had experience with being an entrepreneur. So my logic was just, okay, let's try to do it and be like the executional force. So at the beginning, I was working on the project, and then also when we started hiring, I started hiring people to actually help me execute. So this was like the first 2 years, and it was about, okay, how much time can I work? How much revenue can we actually bring? How can we optimize the processes? And then I think it was the first 3 years was like that. So it was, okay, how to build up the team that can work together with me on the execution. And I didn't actually try to form like I wouldn't say that I was a really good, or that I was in the role of the leader. I was more into an expert role and just working on different projects. And then when I actually moved to the e-commerce company that I work as a CMO, and the first time it was, okay, I'm in the role right now to be a leader. And at that stage, it was about, okay, I need to slowly delegate the things that I can delegate and try to actually focus on building the business and building the structure. So I was I come from the team sports background. So one of my passions at my early years was basketball, and it was all about the team. And I know what can happen if all the players have the right energy, the right chemistry, what kind of results they can produce. So I was always a huge believer that the people are the key to success and the main assets, what actually separates like the companies that are successful towards like the ones that just have like a really good list of co-workers being in the team. I always think that team can actually outperform them. But at the early stage, it was hard because I didn't know how to hire people. I didn't know how to actually onboard them, how to make sure they actually develop down the road. But for me, it was one of the values was always like just try to learn. So it was about reading books, watching YouTube videos, talking to people. Then I started also networking and just trying to learn all of these things. I think one of the great characteristics that helped me was that I was investing a lot of time into talking to people and listening to them. Listening especially because then you actually understand like their needs, their desires, what they can do. So I think that was when my leadership role actually started, when I had like then 5 to 10 people. And basically then I think the challenge was that I didn't ask myself, okay, how many people can I lead directly, not indirectly, but directly. So I try to actually be a leader of, 20, 25 people directly. It didn't work, obviously. For those of you that are in that space, you know that this can be a problem. So I started searching for also mentors. So when I started WeScale, it was about, okay, because I had some months in between between starting WeScale, I decided that I want to build this company for me to be a really leader that leads by example, that actually empowers others, that we have the culture and the environment in place that enables the people to grow, not only the projects to grow, but also the people to grow. And so far, it's really amazing to actually see the people that are with us for half a year or 1 year or 2 years, even how much they actually developed within this time.
Jure, tell us about this really moments from being really starting out and not being able to manage so effectively and onboard people even so well and develop them, at the beginning, but to kind of really leading the way in those aspects. What would be apart from what you mentioned, listening to them, understanding them, what would be starting with the onboarding? What was something very important? If you share a few important points that worked for you that could be useful for the audience, because onboarding is a problem even at large corporations, and that's really a key moment. But then once you onboard a person, is how do you develop them in order for them to blossom and stay eventually? Because if they don't grow and develop, they most likely will feel that they are not delivering or performing, and they will move on.
Yeah, I think I'll start with the situation that it happened, because I think the realization that I had is, because if business goes well, the results are amazing, it's much easier to hire and onboard people because everything is working, although they're not onboarded perfectly or 100% is done on your side, still the team is performing. But it usually comes down when there's more pressure, the results aren't good, maybe some failures come down the road or challenges. I think this is when you actually realize that you need to fix these processes and also to have the plan in place in order to build up on your people, and also existing people and the new people. I think the existing people are even more important than the new people, because the existing people will actually onboard new people. They'll lead by example. They will be the opinion leaders in majority of the cases. They will be the ones that set up the energy in the room. So yeah, at the beginning it was about I did a lot of interviews, a lot of hiring also in the past, but when I started WeScale, it was about, okay, how do our high-performing team look like? What's the energy? Not only each individual, so what do I need from each individual, but basically how the team would look like. What would be the energy, the communication? What will be our drive? So what would be also the purpose and the journey that we want to move towards? So it was based on that I started hiring people to actually try to find this values, mindset, and experience. And then when it comes to onboarding, first it was about I think we did it super early about trying to create these onboarding projects that are for repetitive communication and work, like onboarding with the tools, getting familiar with the company, with the clients, with the team, what the responsibilities of the role. We actually started doing this Sana templates. So templates basically for onboarding for each position. So when one person actually comes to our company, everything is pre-recorded, so they can actually go through their speed towards the whole onboarding. They have the onboarding body in place. They have a mentor in place in order to run as smoothly as possible throughout this process. And then usually they started with the execution rather early, within the first week or so, and then they have someone on there besides them that can actually support and answer their questions. I wouldn't say that we have the perfect onboarding process, but I think it's pretty solid and is getting better, because we're also asking for feedback on each onboarding so we can actually improve these processes. So we realized that part of it could be templatized, and with Loom recordings that someone is actually explaining, this works super well for us. And then it's about having the consistency with communication regarding each individual. So it's about like one-on-ones, having not only the targets, communicating the targets, but what are your desires, what do you think you are good at, doing also some surveys with the team to understand, okay, this person wants to develop in this kind of things. It's about like having this both side communication, because I realized that on one end it's about what you want one person to be evolved in inside the company, and this might differ a lot into if you compare it to what do they want to work on, because I realized that not all people want to be leaders. Not all of them want to be managers, leading people. Some of them want to be expert. Some of them don't want to take the responsibility, and that's fine. You also need like these people in the team, and they're super valuable for it. So it's not about just giving the position to someone else, but it's about listening to them and also have like the pretty clear expectations about like what are the responsibility, what do they need, what kind of training, and so on. So this would be like my short, long answer for this one.
Fantastic. And look, when it comes down to obviously the retention, what makes people stay with you? You know, what are the key areas? What do you see? You mentioned some of it as onboarding, of listening to them, but what have you noticed that people appreciate in order to, especially in this time when there's so many opportunities?
Yeah, I think it's the culture, because they stay with because of the team. So I think like the team is like-minded. We are actually chasing the same things. It's about also being there for each other. So to support each other. I think another thing that they stay is that we are transparent with them. So if we have like some failures, challenges, or something like that, well, within the company, we communicate this. We just had the example like this week, where we put all the team together, jump on a call, explain the situation, be there to answer the questions, although you might not have all the answers, but just be transparent. And a lot of them actually gave us feedback about they really appreciate like that we communicated with them, although it wasn't like super great news. We informed them, and they have the ability to actually ask the question, to have the open conversation because of that. So I think this is one of the things, and also like the opportunities for how to grow their career and what kind of projects we work on. Because at the end of the day, I also want to have like the clients in place that our team is excited about, not only to get paid well, but the project that also enable us to grow and to actually believe in those projects. So we had a lot of examples also in the past where we were actually canceling the clients that we work with, because basically the project team that was working on it said, we don't believe in this project, although it's doing a solid numbers. We don't believe like this is the project for us, and that we can actually excel and produce like outstanding results in the future. So I think it's about this, that the people have the chance to co-create like also our company. So this would be like a couple of factors that I believe are really good on the retention side.
Fantastic. And tell us about those exciting projects. How do you choose them? And give us some examples of one of your biggest achievements and successes.
Yeah, so regarding the project, what we are usually look at is like, okay, what's the product? So if the product is a quality it's a quality branded product, so it's not like some shitty product that actually bring like a bad move to someone. So it's really important to have the quality product on the back end, the product that is visual for us, so we can actually sell it across all the channels that we use. We believe the business is scalable, so we have a lot of experience regarding different business models, different business niches. So we try to actually analyze this. Usually the number one factor is the founder. So, and the team on the project side. So what's the mindset, what's the experience of the founder? Because if you try to scale like super fast, it's about like the experience and also the team that you have. Are you be able to grow fast enough to hire the people, to actually build up the structure, to get also to be good to actually manage cash flow and so on, to also understand marketing, because at the end of the day, for the e-commerce, one of the crucial areas of the business is marketing. If we are coming in as a marketing partner, is super important for the people that are working with us to understand marketing. And usually the feedback that we get from the client, from our team, when we do analysis of what the business did in the past, for us to understand, okay, based on our experience, these are the opportunities on this project, and based on that, we decide with whom we want to work or not. At the end of the day, there's no such thing as a perfect client. We haven't found it, but it's not about finding the perfect client. It's about like creating a strong partnership with the people that you work with. So yeah, with the successful one, we were able to actually integrate with their team. The communication went well, the project management, they were able to take the risk. We were able to take the risk. We got the environment in place to grow to new markets, to introduce new products, to work on the retention side, to be effective on the acquisition side. So it's about like, yeah, just working together and trying to create like these awesome stories.
Well, that's fantastic, Jure. And I'm pretty sure a lot of organizations are asking, obviously, how does that work? Tell us a little bit about the details. Is there a minimum threshold? You've scaled now as an organization. How do you target, or how do you kind of acquire clients, and what are the characteristics that at least they need to have in order to help them to scale fast? And if you maybe give us probably some example of a great success story that you've accomplished.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So basically who we are targeting and how we are doing it. So we basically have like several different sources about like where we get our leads. So part of it is like doing our own marketing on the social media side, doing the paid side, doing the organizing webinars, writing like this knowledge articles about like to share the knowledge, to actually build up the credibility and the needs. To tell you the truth, one of the great sources for us was also like my personal network. I started sharing my knowledge 6-7 years ago about the marketing. So I built up a little bit group of audience that follow me. So a lot of clients also came to WeScale because of me. And what we are looking at is usually we don't have like a specific threshold about they need to be. It's really good that they have some traction on the market and they are doing like on average between 50 to 100K per month, because usually this is the phase where you have like this proven market fit product or products. So that's usually when we came into the game. But we also had like one example at the beginning of WeScale, where one company came to us that did like 5K per month, and we grew them to multiple millions monthly revenue in 2 and something years. So because of it, we did it. First, we tried to build up the sales on one market, then we moved to another market. We also have a lot of experience with localization. So what you need to actually sell effectively in a certain market in Europe. I have been selling products in Europe for 8 years now. So I have like a pretty great knowledge on that, plus also some network that can actually provide me with the right information for each market that we're actually going through. So one of it was this, just growing from 5K into multiple million monthly revenue within 8 markets. selling like different product categories. Also with them, we actually first started one product category, then we helped them build inside this product category specific products. Then we move into the new product categories in order to have like this wider range of the target audience that we can target with our advertising. Then we build up the retention tactics with them about like creating different offers, setting up like the automation flows on the back end in order to take care that the customers are returning to them. Yeah, so we did a lot of that. We also had like some businesses that came to us that did like 200K and we grew them to 500K a monthly revenue. We have one example right now when they came to us with 12 million yearly revenue. So they were pretty big, but they didn't actually master all the channels. So with them, we just partner up to actually build up like the paid social side because they were really good on the influencer marketing side. So basically, it's not like one target group that we are going. I would say that we're pretty solid in beauty niche, in fashion niche, in gadget niche. But at the end of the day, it's about like the adapting. So far, we have mainly worked with the e-commerce stores. But yeah, the plan is also to extend like into other verticals in the future.
Fantastic. We have a great question here from Stoyan, who's actually joining us from Austria here, and is asking, Jure, what are your top 3 tips for caring for your client and making them fall in love with the way you serve them?
A great question. So the first would be actually to build up the relationship early, because at the end of the day, we are actually managing their money. So we are, I wouldn't say playing, but we're managing their money. So it's super important to build up the relationship and the trust early. Because if someone is going to trust you like a couple of 100K per month investment, they better trust you. If they don't trust you, will have a problem. Or if you don't perform, it's super important to actually be honest about it. So one is building the relationship to have the trust. The second one is to have the honesty. So to not overpromise, because I see like many people are overpromising the whole time. I was just one example is about like TikTok. So there is a huge buzz about like running TikTok ads, and people are actually bragging about, yeah, we have like our cost per conversion on TikTok is €1 or €2, and we are scaling and something like that. But yeah, this might be true. You never know, because there is a lot of overpromising, and to tell the truth, a lot of lying also on the market about giving out false information. And also, if something is not working, what I realize that it's super important to be honest within this relationship with the client, to say, okay, yeah, this doesn't work, but we believe like this is the factor. So we think we can solve this with this. So to actually talk about like the suggestions, just if something doesn't work, to tell, look, it doesn't work. Not to lie about it or trying to actually give them that there is their fault or their failure, they didn't do their job. It's about like being a responsible partner in this kind of relationship and honest, and be a support to actually create suggestions. And last but not least is about like for you to actually also listen to their needs. So it's not about like you came in with all the experience and they need to adapt with you. It's about like integrating together. I used this word a lot in the last couple of weeks, this integration, but I really believe that each the client and also us as an agency, we bring something to the table, and the winning combination will be when we work together and we take the best from both worlds and create the strategy and execution that help both sides. So that would be like the top 3.
I love it. And Jure, what is your advice to organizations that want to scale, but they may not have the budgets yet, or what are the steps, in other words, the preparation steps for them to look at the bigger numbers, and especially for product driven companies, but also I'll ask you about services. How does that, have you done any experience in the service with service marketing and so forth? But
we have a service.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are an agency is a service business. So
Exactly.
we are,
So you have to go yourself.
yeah. We also need to promote ourselves. So regarding being just in the early stages. So first is there is a lot buzz about like scalability, and I want to scale, but at first it's about just to actually ask yourself in which time frame or stage of the business you're in, because you might not be in the scaling phase yet. You might be that you need to figure out like the product market fit, or you need to figure out like what would be the growth phase. And what I usually analyze and what we are talking with the business owner at first is, okay, what's like the product that you're selling, or the products that you're selling, which are your top sellers, how much percentage wise your top sellers are making of the total revenue, which markets are you present in, what's the audience size of the potential, which marketing channels do you use. Because a lot of companies did this mistake in the past, that they were just relying on one or two digital channels. And nowadays they had problem, because you need to actually create like this multi-channel approach within on the digital marketing space in order to grow. Then it's like, what's the plan for introducing new products? What's the plan for expanding to new markets? What are the needs there? Because at the end of the day, it's about like growing your potential for selling. So you need more products, you need bigger audiences, you need new markets, you need to have the team on the back end to sell. Because I think a lot of business owners want to like the idea of scaling, but at the end of the day, they don't go from it, okay, what will the company look like in 2 years or 3 years? What would be like the team in place? What are the products that we are selling? Who's our target group? Who are our customers? I also believe like a lot of business, a lot of marketing departments, and also a lot of not only marketing but also in the agency. I also see this struggle about people don't understanding their customers, not knowing their customers, because I believe if you know your customers well, you will be able to actually communicate and show them the right creatives, show them the right offers. So this also goes like to the services. So it's about like talking with your customers, getting to know them, adjusting your marketing strategy, be clear about like how big the audience is, where do they spend their time, how can we actually reach them on, let's say, on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Google, and so on. So how to actually communicate where they're present, what are you going to offer them, and also how to actually broaden the audience. Because we see also in the past our target group for the agency was, okay, we need someone that can actually grow within 1 year to 7 figures. But this is like really small percentage of the companies. So we were targeting super specific that have like the realistic chances of growing that fast, especially in these times where it's hard to scale. I know that a lot of businesses scale, but it's hard to scale. If you look at it percentage-wise, it's super small amount of number. So we need to actually also adjust like the services. So we said, okay, for some target group, we might change the offer because before we were offering like all our services for a specific price, and then okay, the entry level for us was too high in order to actually get like more customers. So we adjust the offer. So just doing the research, understanding where you are, what can you do with the offer, what can you do to expand your audience, potential audience range, what do you do to expand your product line, and what do you do to actually go to other markets, and what's the team on the back end that you need. And last but not least, also the finances. Because if you want to grow super fast, obviously you need to have a really good cash flow on the back end, especially if you are just have product-based business and you're ordering stuff from Asia or something like that, with all the logistic problems, with all, you need to have a really good cash flow on the back end, because without that, it's super hard to grow. I have been with some clients that grew to 8 figures, and for them, like, cash was king. It was super important to actually make this critical decision to finance the growth, also to have the metrics in place. So yeah, a little bit maybe confused answer, but that would be like my thoughts on it.
No, thank you so much. This is very helpful because we all want to scale, but there's a lot of preparation to scale, and this is really important. And when it comes down to you personally, how do you take care of yourself?
Hey, Marian, sorry to interrupt, but I would just say I don't believe that truly all the people want to scale, or they have the desire for it, but I don't think they are ready to do what's necessary to scale.
You're right. A lot of people have the desire,
Yeah.
but they may not be ready to pay the price for scaling.
Yeah.
And,
Because also your role, if you're a founder, will change a lot. Believe me, I have worked super closely with some founders that grew to 200, 300 employees, and their role changed a lot. And I heard so many times, I want to give up, or I would give anything to go back 2 years and just be on that side of the business. So, but it's pluses and minuses on each situation. So I just don't want to be like this, the promised land or something like that everyone needs. If you want to have a business that do like, I don't know, million, 2 million, 5 million, and you're doing it well and you're bringing the profit, or even less, if this is something that is actually your passion and you're happy about it, it's okay. Not everyone needs to be like the 9-figure company.
that's very interesting. You just touched on a strength here, and you're right that actually when it comes down to the size matters and how to scale matters as well. And you said, you've seen some leaders that have gone from several hundred people they're managing. That could be a unicorn. Anything over 100 people easily could turn into a unicorn if it's in a high impactful valuation and area with technology and community combined. And you said, obviously, I wish there was different. And now you've witnessed some of this scale and growth. It's at what stage would you advise entrepreneurs or founders to be seriously thinking how they want to scale and what the consequences are? Because if you're doing a million or 2 7-figure business and you're kind of in a good place, but you're now hungry, ready for next level, what would be your advice to them when they have that moment of consideration? Because how you scale matters, and also matters in terms of your personal life, in terms of the time you need to spend, and of course you had that first-hand experience, and how you take care of it, which is the next question. But tell us about what stage people should sit down, reflect, and say, I maybe may not want to scale that much. Maybe I want to stay where I am and do other things, or invest rather. I may grow in a different way.
I think it depends on the business you're in, but I'll try to actually give like the general answer for that. I would start asking myself when I have between like 20 to 50 people in the company, or doing like around 3 to 5 million per year. I would try to ask myself, okay, am I going all in and want to be like great, the biggest success story that will be across all the PRs and everything, and I want to have the exposure and I want to have 100 people plus in the team? Or I want to like stay small? Or also one important question is, do I want to have like an investor on the back end? Because if you bring in the investor or something that actually lend you money or is actually investing, that your role as a founder and as a leader change completely, because you're then not only responsible for your team and for yourself, but you're actually responsible to someone else. So they are giving you the guidelines and their needs about it. But I would try to actually think about it between like 20 to 50 people in the company. or around like 5 million, something like that. I think it's not like it's the biggest needle mover, but I think it's about like just started thinking about, okay, what kind of business I want to have. If I want to have a great business, should I actually bring an advisor, a coach, or something like that on board? And what kind of people do I also need? And also, one important question is, I also saw this towards my career, what is the role that I want to be in? Because you could be like the CEO, you could be like the managing director, you could be the CMO, the product, or you just could be a founder also down the road. And also start to think about, because if you are the CEO or something like that, working closely with people intensively, and what kind of CEO you also want to be. And I think it's super important to actually ask yourself, because a lot of business owners actually start as founder/CEO, and then down the road, when it's 50 people or 100 people in the company, they realize that, okay, maybe I could be in the same position, but I need the COO on the back end that take care of these things, because I'm not great at it, or I think someone could do it better. So I think this is also an important question to ask yourself. Not only what kind of business do you want to have and what kind of team, but what would be my role in the company. And it could change down the road. We have seen it so many times that people step down from the CEO, or added someone as on the CEO and then go back. So it's just about like having this reflection for yourself about, okay, what am I good at? What are my desires? Do you think someone could do it better? Do I have the money also to pay them, and so on?
Wow, this is really important, and I think more reflection. We need more time. I guess as entrepreneurs to be very careful what we desire, because what we desire has consequences, and we need to be ready to pay for them. And I think this is really important. And Jure, when it comes down to you personally going through this journey and transformation, and I'm sure there's a lot more, but how do you keep yourself inspired, and how do you take care of yourself?
How to keep myself inspired? So I must be honest here. It's on my journey is ups and downs always. So I'm not motivated 24/7, 365. I'm not. So I have a lot of days where I don't feel like getting out of bed at 5:30 in the morning and started working or something like that. So I think the inspiration, what inspires me is what's the journey that we're building, and how many people are getting better along the way, and what's the opportunities that we as a team are creating, and also the team that I'm working with. At the beginning of my career, it was about like just proving myself that I could do something and that I'm good at it. On the business side, then it was about the money. So I wanted to buy a car, I wanted to buy the new mobile phone, I wanted to buy a new computer, and then I got that, didn't feel fulfilled. Then I say, okay, what more is there? So I think what drives me right now is about like the impact, the legacy that I'm building, the team that I'm building, and also the improvement on the team, not only on our side working directly, but also like the opportunities that we're building also for others. Because like if you can imagine, like someone comes working to us having like 1 or 2 people in the team, and then imagine like in 2 years there is like 100 people in the company. So you created like that many opportunities, not you solo, but basically you co-created these opportunities. So people can have the jobs they enjoy, they're learning, they're getting paid, they can actually start a family, or they can go on vacation or something like that because of you. And that's why I think like what inspires me, and also sharing like my knowledge and experience, talking to these amazing people, traveling. Last year I was in mastermind at Zakynthos, at some of the brightest minds in marketing, 3 years ago, I would never imagine myself sitting to some CMO of the 1 billion company, just drinking beer next to the pool and talking about business. So I think it's also about the experience down the road. So this is what inspires me. And the second part of the question is, how do I take care of myself? I tried a lot of things. At one point, I think it was 3 years ago, it was about just, okay, I need to do meditation, I need to do yoga, I need to do therapy, I need to run in the morning, I need to do a walk. So it was about what I need to do. But at the end of the day, I didn't feel like the energy that I needed. So 2 years ago, I think I got better about like listening to my body and my mind and my energy level, and going back, just trying some things, and it really changes. I wouldn't say that I am the whole year I'm doing the same things that actually take care of my mental health, because on some part it could be I could be meditating for 90 days straight in the morning, and it really helps me. But on some other days it's just about like going for the walk together with my wife in the evening, just sharing, complaining about what's going on at work. It could be like playing basketball with friends, talking to family or something like that. But right now for me it's just about like the sport is super important, to actually do a workout, to play some basketball, to run, to go hiking, and spend as much time as possible with my family and friends. And at work on the business also, to not try to be super impulse about the reactions, to take your time to think about things, and also to be honest and transparent and talking to the team as much as possible, because you don't want to be too alone as a leader.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you so much. And one final question. What is your vision or wish for a more brighter and more caring world?
What is my wish? That's a great one. That's a great question. So for the brighter world, my wish would be, so each individual actually creates or follow their journey, not to try to actually copy paste someone else, because there is we live in the world where are a lot of role models that are made by the social media or something like that, and you say, okay, yeah, they live a perfect lifestyle, but they really don't know these people personally. And maybe something looks really shiny from the outside, but when you get to talk with this person, they might not have such a beautiful life as they show on the social media or the PR is showing you. So I think it's if I could have like one wish, it would be to try to more self-replicate about like what is the thing that you desire. So what do you want to be, and not being too affected about what the world or social media is actually showing you that it's the right way for you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Jure, for being with us today. This was really full of a lot of insights and value from your personal experience, and so young, really, to achieve so much and really have that wisdom was really refreshing. And hopefully we can touch some people and maybe enable them to take better decisions in their life. And next week we were having another great guest on the Leaders Who Care. Watch out on cybersecurity, and one of the leader for the top here in European Union agency, and the creator of that agency, in fact, is joining us. So just watch out for what's coming. And once again, thanks for Jure for being with us today, and sending you all the best luck and blessings to your team and your family.
Thank you very much for this conversation, for the invite. It was really amazing to talk to you. And also thank you to the audience for listening to us. And yeah, all the best in the future.
Thank you.